Hello, I'm Mitch Taylor from the Kentucky Horseshoeing School. We're over here in Tolbert, Netherlands to do some demonstration and teaching a little bit about the Workman Black, which is the system that measures the orientation and the movement of the hoof during the various phases of the stride. So we've got an interesting little horse today. We've got a little bit of a low-grade club foot on the white foot, and we've got a little bit of a more of an underslung foot. So we tried to get a horse here for you that was, there we go, I have to get it from the side. And we tried to get a horse that had some asymmetry in their front feet. So traditionally what we would do is to try to even up this horse and make the front feet the same dorsal wall angle. But really we've got some anatomical differences here, in particular with the deep flexor tendon, and we don't even know if the superficial flexor tendon is involved, but we pretty well know we've got a low-grade club foot, and so what we call high-low. Not an extreme case, but a case that I think that will show a big difference in the way that the horse moves in a symmetrical way. So traditionally what we would do is try to figure out how much heel that we can remove from this upright foot. So we'll put these pads in the toe and get an idea of how much heel we can remove from this upright foot. So we'll take about 4 of those and lift this up about 1/2 inch, which is a lot. I'm going to take one away. There we go. There we go. And we pick up the other foot. And if you can pan back and see how comfortable the horse is, we can see that she's starting to lean back a little bit. Try to pull her up a little bit. She's not liking that as much as she would be barefoot. So if we take the wedge pads off, we know that that's going to be a little bit too much of the heel removal. So that's what we traditionally do to try to get some idea of matching them up. Today we're going to show you a little bit about how we can just deal with the front half of the foot and the breakover modifications that we can put on the shoes. So that's what we're going to do today with this guy, and see if we can find a difference in the measuring system before and after. Okay, so we're just going to go through the process of doing a measurement. It's fairly simple. It doesn't take much time. You'll see. The first thing we've got to do is get the Velcro on the front of the foot. It's important that you orient the sensor in line with the frog. So whichever direction the frog is pointing from the bottom, you want to make sure the sensor is right above that on the dorsal wall. You want to have it as high as you can on the foot, on the front feet. On the back feet, obviously we can't put it on the front because the front foot will knock it off. So we have to put it on the sides of the foot. That's already been calibrated into the hind sensor, so it gets the same measurement. We're going to concentrate on the front feet right now, and I'll just show you how we're going to get the sensors on. I'm going to knock this flare off a little bit. We'll rough it up a little bit just to make sure there's not any oil on there. The top has no glue on it. Very easy to do. You're all right, Mama. Find the frog. Let me have a look here. Okay. So we're right in line with the frog, as you can see. Good. Okay, the second step, once we have the Velcro patches on the foot, we're going to come over to the unit, grab the remote control, turn it on. You can see that it's blinking. Here, I will take my two sensors. We've got red sensors for the front. We've got black sensors for the back feet. Each sensor has a red Velcro, and the red is always goes on the right. The black Velcro always goes on the left. So we need to wake these sensors up. Okay. So, hold on. So now we have the sensors awakened and communicating. Okay, Ramon, you ready to go?
Yep.
All we do is press the sensor, and you can see it's blinking, and you're ready to measure. Off you go, walk straight. Normal leading protocols, you want to make sure that the head is not affected. I'll let the horse walk as normal as possible. So Ramon's going to walk him down at least 20 strides in walk, and then we want to get at least 20 strides in trot. The algorithms in these sensors already take care of any missteps or turning or any unusual movement patterns from the norm, kicks them out and saves all the good strides. So we've got plenty of strides in walk. We're going to turn around and trot him. And then because we're doing a combi measurement, we're going to, when we get done, we'll walk him right into the soft arena so we can see the difference on hard ground and penetrating ground. Well, come back, Ramon. Now, as you can see, the sensors are, only one sensor is picking up. Oh, there they are. Now they're in range, but it's okay because this is just like a walkie-talkie. All it does is communicate to the sensors to download to the tablet. Okay? Stop. And that's the measurement. All we have to do now, if we want to, is remove the sensors and allow this machine to download. But we're going to take a combi measurement. So we're going to take 10 strides on flat to calculate and normalize everything and to calibrate the sensors, and we'll walk him right into the arena in soft ground. Go. Off we go. This system, you can measure 1, 2, 3, 4 a lot of times. It'll take a lot of measurements, so you can just keep repeating your measurements. You need to remember that what you're doing so you can add your notes when you decipher the data. So we've gone into the arena. Again, we've gone 10 steps so we can calibrate the sensors, walk right into the soft arena. Again, walk at least 20 steps, come back and jog at least 20 steps. And then we'll have what we call the combi measurement, which is different because we've got penetrating ground. Now, as that horse broke into a little canter, it's really not a problem because like I say, the algorithms of the sensors will kick that unusual movement out. We're only interested in the trot. So we're going to have another go at the trot. Settle down. And we're good. Click it. Once they stop blinking, like this. Now it's very simple. We're going to remove the sensors. Yep. All we got to do at this point, remove the sensors. Oh. And we'll take them over to our tablet. Okay, so now we're back at the unit, and we can turn the machine on. There we go. We're going to put our sensors in so they charge. We always want them to charge. We've got to put this guy, the remote, so it charges. Now all we're going to do is press this for 5 seconds. And as soon as that turns blue, that's telling us that the sensors are downloading to the tablet. And if you go to the tablet, now you can see, sure enough, we've got 2 sensors that it has seen. And the blue lights are functioning. That means it's Bluetoothing to the unit, so you can remember that. You can see it's downloading, and it will download one, then the other, and then we can analyze the data. Okay, so we're going to analyze the measurements, and the first 2 measurements we took are barefoot. We did very little trimming. We wanted to see where he was at, just as he was before we did anything. So these are the 2 measurements that we took. We've downloaded the data, and you can see now that the first page that comes up is this general page. And this is our horse, Alibaba. We have not added any notes yet for this measurement, but it's very easy to do so, like this. If you wanted to add a note or add a photo, you can add a video of the videos that we've taken, or you can add a note. So we'll just say here, put a quick note here. Barefoot before trimming and shoeing. Okay, save that. That will go into his file, and then we can add more as we go along. Okay. Now we'll go to the general page, and it gives us information on left foot, right foot. We know when we did it. It tells you what measurement it is, the first one. If you want to go and see the second one, that's the second set of measurements, which is the combi measurement. So we'll go back here and take a look. That measurement took 1 minute 38 seconds. We've got good strides. Enough strides. If there are not enough strides, this will be labeled in red to warn you that there's not enough strides. We've got accurate measurements of the dorsal wall. The underslung foot was 46 degrees. The upright foot was 56 degrees. It tells us a little bit about the miles per hour, or how fast the horse is going. Now this is kilometers per hour, so we can switch it from metric to imperial. So we can go there, go to settings, find conversion right there. We'll just switch it to imperial. Done. Go back to measurements, and we can go to our first measurement, which is this one here. Check measurement details. Back we are. Oh, sorry. So back to this page that we are, the general page. So we're good. Here we're going to evaluate what we saw. So this is the footfalls page, and what this tells us is the amount of time we have in the stance phase versus the swing phase. Not only the stance phase, but these little white triangles in the back tell us the timing of the moment the foot hits the ground until the moment the foot stops. So once the deceleration stops, the foot takes a hold of the ground, then that's this middle section. And you can see there's just subtle differences in here in the barefoot horse. This stance time is longer on the right front foot, and which is the club foot, and the left foot has got a smaller stance time, but it also has a little bit of a longer time it takes to break over, which makes sense when we have an upright and an underslung foot. So this is in the walk, and this is in the trot. So we can compare, or we can do it chronographically as the horse was walking, or as he was trotting. So back we go, and we can see it's easier here to compare. Again, when he trots, we've got a little bit of a less of a timing that the foot stops, and here the slide phase is a little bit longer. So next we'll go to the analyze page, and you can look at it from the perspective, the side view, the top view. So we'll go back to the perspective, And you can see as the foot goes through the air, if you want to see a little bit more like this. There we go. Actually see how the foot hits the ground, and you can stop it and back it up and look at these. You can see that they're not hitting the ground flat. A little bit outside first, which is quite normal for horses, especially horses with kind of normal conformation. There's the side view. They're looking at the height. It gives us the height of the arc of flight here in the trot. His 5.91 inches, 5.79 inches here. So you can see the highest peak of his stride on his right foot. I guess where are we? Yeah, on his right foot is almost at the end, at what we would call the end of the protraction phase, right before the horse is retracting. So there's a difference there. And again, we can see the top view and see how the arc of flight has the foot swings in or out. He's pretty good. The red line is the median, and the shaded lines are like the standard deviation of that's where each foot stride went, and it kind of calculated that and told you this is the range of where his foot went through all those 49 strides. So we can stop that. We can look at the point that he breaks over. He breaks over right in the center of the toe. Bright red means that he's done that more often, and pink means that he's done that less often. So he's breaking over right in the center of his toe. We can see as far as the landing, he's landing. All of these spots tell us where he landed. The majority of the time he's landing on his outside heel on both feet. This one a little bit farther up once in a while. It also tells us the duration of how long it took him to come to a stop. When he hit the ground and when he the slide phase and came to a stop. On the left foot, it took 7 milliseconds for him to hit the ground, stop. Double the time on the right foot, which was the club foot, if you remember. So there's 14 milliseconds. Now let's go and check the ring of workmen. Okay, so this is an interesting panel, and it gives us a lot of information about the stance phase and the orientation of the foot during the stance phase. You can see that there's 3 icons you need to know about. The backwards diamond is the point at which the heel first touches the ground. The middle icon, which is the diamond, tells us when the foot stops, and then the loading begins. And the next icon is the forward icon, the other triangle the other way, which gives us the moment that the heels lift off the ground and starts to break over, or what we call enrollment. You can see as we go through this, the picture of the orientation of the foot during the stance phase. So we can make it, we can adjust this a little bit, the speed a bit. There we go. Now also, there's some good information here. If we look back here, notice that this is lit up. So the landing time was 9 milliseconds in a walk. The landing time was 7 milliseconds at a trot. So as the horse lands, 9 milliseconds, now he's into mid-stance, right? So he's in the stance phase, and he's there for 475 milliseconds. And watch the red icon as it starts to get close to the other triangle. There we go. At this point, the heels are off the ground a half of a degree. As soon as the heels come off the ground half a degree, it registers it as it enrolls all the way over through the center of the toe. We'll just look at this one as it goes right through the center of the toe. And you can see that's the point, the area that he likes to break over his shoe. Now, if we look at the other foot, the right foot, we can see he's landing a little bit farther back when he lands. His mid stance is in the center, but there's a lot of there's a lot of instability during his stance phase. And what's happening is the foot is orienting itself to the medial side and also back on the heels a little bit, which makes sense as he's loading the back of his foot. We can see this mid stance is about the same as this, pretty close, 479. But the duration of breakover and the duration of landing are different. Notice there's a lot of difference in these 2 feet, as we probably would expect them to be, them being so different. Now you can see we're starting to break over. His foot is actually oriented medially a little bit as he breaks over the medial aspect of his toe. And there we go. So that's the walk. We can look at the trot. And as he's trotting, you can bring this in a little bit. I like to start them right where the heel contacts the ground. And you can see that there's no color here on the trot. And that's because the stance phases are different timings. He's standing on his foot 204 milliseconds. Here he's 196 milliseconds. So that's why there's no color bar there yet, but watch, it will come. It's just a little bit behind the other one. So as it comes in, again, we're here at the mid stance. And as he starts to break over, there's a lot of noise there, a little instability, and to the inside, and off he goes pretty close to the center of the toe. So the Ring of Workman gives us quite a bit of information on the orientation of the foot during the stance phase. Now remember that Dr. Jeff Tomlinson from the University of Guelph has done some research and shown that how much weight is on the foot during that time, and he's calculated up to 3.8 times the weight on the foot on a galloping horse at that stage. So this loading stage is important to know what's going on, because that's the point that sometimes things are breaking. Okay, one more thing before we go on. I just wanted to let you know, if you get confused and forget what these icons are, it's really easy. You just go here to the instruction manual. There's this massive instruction manual that tells you all about each of these different systems. Here we go. So we can go down here, and it will again tell you what all of these icons mean. So this is a massive, this is a lot of information. Each one of these will be explained in detail. Tells you a little bit about how to determine what's happening with these colors and the ground contact. So just to let you know, if you get confused, you can always go to the manual that's already loaded up on this tablet. So now we can go to the timings page, and this page again gives us information on walk and information on trot. I wanted to go down here and tell you what relative stance time is. Relative stance time is the comparison of the amount of time on the ground versus the amount of time in the air. Obviously at a walk, we would see way more time on the ground. When we switch it to trot, we can see less time on the ground. Now, one foot is bearing weight a little bit longer than the other, and it's not huge, but it's where we can measure it. And I'm thinking if we can measure it, probably the horse can feel it as well. So let's go back to analyze. And I wanted to let you know that at a walk, and we'll go to trot, notice what's happening is the right front foot is when he's loading and he's stopped and he's loading, you can see his foot is oriented and really sinks medially. You can see how his foot is sinking medially during the stance phase, right? You can see how his foot is sinking medially like this, and that's not good. So I don't like that. That's not normal, and that's something that we might want to look at when we design our shoeing protocol for this horse from the data here. So the last thing I wanted to let you know that we've talked about relative stance time are these numbers. So this is the timings of these various phases of the stride. This is just a numerical representation of the footfalls that we see here, which is a visual representation. Again, the white triangle is the measurement of the moment the foot hits the ground, slides, and stops. The colored is the time, the stance phase, when the foot is on the ground, not moving. And the white triangles are the time when the heel comes off the ground, half of a degree until the foot enrolls and the toe comes off the ground. That's those timings there. If we look at it here, we can see in the trot, there's 204 milliseconds on the left foot, 196, not a huge difference. But the difference is 8 milliseconds. Here we've got 1 millisecond difference in breakover. Here we've got minus 2 milliseconds in the swing phase. So the swing phases are a little bit different. And the biggest difference we see is 6 milliseconds between the landing of the left foot and the landing of the right foot. That is the slide phase time. So these numbers, again, are just a numerical representation of this visual of their stance time versus swing phase time, which includes heel stride. Okay, so we're going to put some shoes on him. The idea is that when we look at analyze these types of horses, we see that the underslung foot has a much greater time. It takes longer for it to break over, meaning the time between heel off and toe off is greater in this foot than it is in the upright foot. So we're going to make an adjustment in how we rocker this foot. Basically, we're going to do a low profile rocker on the underslung foot. So he'll initiate the forward movement and the rolling of the foot sooner than this guy will. This guy, the upright foot, will have a shorter, basically a traditional AFA type rocker. So it won't have as much time to need to break over, and hopefully those breakover points will be the same. So now we might want to look at him after we trim him from the side, see if there's any improvements. So there's a little improvement on the angulation, but keep in mind that we've got a couple anatomical differences here that have been there for a long time. We learn over time not to try to fix everything, but to allow horses the ability to be comfortable with the accommodations that they've made in their stance and their conformation over the years. So that's our foot prep on this. So we're making a little bit of a rocker toe. And we'll take him over. turn him on. This is the shoe that we made. It's basically a rocker. You can see it's rockered across the toe in front of the nail holes about halfway into the web. It's what I call an AFA rocker. So you can see it from the side. Basic rockered center, right over the center of the shoe. Right? Okay, we've got some front shoes on our horse here. Just to recap, we had a little bit of a high-low situation. A low grade club foot on the right side, a little bit of a broken back axis behind. We got somewhere in our trim, as usual. We tested how much we could lower the heel, so I wanted to do that safely. We don't want to have any kind of pain contracture because we've shortened the heels too much on the upright foot. We didn't stress the toe on the other one. I don't like over trimming feet now. So these days, so we didn't over trim the front of the other one, but we trimmed it what the foot would give us. Then on the underslung foot, we put what I call a low profile rocker, which the rocker starts between the second and third nail hole. So we've got pretty much half the shoe rocker. The upright foot, we have basically a toe rocker or an AFA rocker where we've just rockered halfway into the web of the toe. We're going to put the sensors back on now, measure him, and analyze and see if we accomplished what we wanted to get accomplished. Okay, we've put some shoes on this guy, and we've made some adjustments, what we think would help him to even out his stride, to have a little more symmetrical trot. Remember that a trot is a symmetrical gait, so the pairs of feet, the diagonal pairs of feet, should be doing the same thing on either side. So we've got sensors also on the hind. We're going to watch him walk, and it's important that the farriers also watch this horse go, because we've developed our eyes over the years to see subtle things that most people can't see. So it's important that we watch what's going on the best we can, and then we'll confirm that when we look at the measurements. I wanted to show you that we've been standing around for a while, and after about 10 minutes these lights start shutting down. They start going to sleep. So it's no big deal. We're just going to wake the sensors back up again. The right sensors on the hind is still going, so we're going to go down and turn these back on, wake them up. There we go. And this one. There we go. And the right one. So now they're all on, and we're going to watch our horse go. So we'll turn it on, and off we go. Again, you can see that the lights have gone off. It's just because the sensors have gone out of range. Those sensors are still measuring, are still collecting data. No problem. As soon as they get back in range again, this will pick it back up, and then we'll upload it to the system. stop that measurement. And are we going to do a combi? Okay, now we're going to do a combi measurement as we take 10 strides of flat ground. To remember, we've got to calibrate the sensors so they know where zero is or baseline is. Then we're going to go into the softer arena and we'll do a combi measurement. So off you go. We are recording. So again, as we're walking this horse, he might be a little excited and take a few trotting strides or break into a canter or something. Again, the system kicks those steps out and only saves the walk and trot. Good. Yeah, it's good. We've got done our measuring our horse both on the walk, trot, on the straight, and then we took him in and did a combi measurement. And then when we were done, we got to talk a little bit, and our system fell asleep. So the remote is asleep, and the sensors are asleep. So basically, this is a problem with when we do this, we get out of sync or something happens and the light is blue, it should be green or whatever, and we get confused and it's a problem, and then we are not able to follow through with the measurement. So just wanted to let you know what we need to do is wake up the system. So we've got to wake up our remote, and then we've got to wake up our sensors. So that one, where are you? There you go. This one, and this one. And you need to only hold it on there for a couple seconds. If you hold it on for more than that, there we go, then it will start to download. So now we've got to put our guys back in here. We don't have to, but I like to do it because that charges them. And now everybody is awake, and now I can download. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you see the blue means Bluetooth. If you come over to the screen, you can see that it's reading it, and we are starting to download all 4 sensors. Right, so now the system is uploaded. All the data is uploaded into the system. You can see that it's done, and it shows a little bit about the battery health of these two as well. So they're not completely filled, but they're pretty good shape. So now we're going to look at the data. We'll go and find the horse. This is our horse, Alibaba. We're going to link the new measurement, and we're going to go through his hind. We don't have his hind in yet, so the hind hoof quality is good. Hind quality right good. He is slightly toed out. No shoes. He's barefoot. And he's barefoot behind, so that's good. On the front, we've got all the same information. Shoe size, and we've got some notes on here to tell what we've done with the toes. Right, complete the checklist. Now we're going to select these 2 measurements, which is the combi measurement and the normal walk and trot on hard ground. Link it to the horse, and there we go. Now we can see the first page, left front, right front. If you'd like to look at the hinds, you can switch and look at the hinds. We did not have any toe angle for the hind, because remember the sensors on the hind foot would be knocked off by the front foot. So we put them on the side of the foot, and it's calibrated to deal with that, so it knows it's on the side of the foot, so we get the same measurements. But what we don't get is an angle measurement of the hind feet. So now we're looking at the hind feet. Again, we got good strides. We had 38 strides of walk and 24 strides in trot. We know that's good. Again, it tells us our average speed, 3.9, almost 4 miles per hour. And at trot, he's going 7.5 miles an hour. You want to go to footfalls then, and there's our footfall schematic for all 4 feet, both walk and trot. So we can evaluate things here and look at stance time versus swing time. We can look at the amount of time it takes for the heel or the foot to hit the ground and stop sliding in that white triangle behind. This is the stance, the mid stance, or the loading phase. And then this is the breakover or the enrollment phase. And you can see that there's some subtle differences there, mostly in the left front. Remember, the left front is where we have the low profile rocker. This is what we would expect to see as the enrollment of the foot comes off the ground. That timing should be a lot longer. So the other foot, we've got a hard rocker on the toe, and this we've got a soft or a low profile rocker. So the rockering starts much sooner. Go to the trot, you can see how things are evened up quite a bit, and we've got a pretty symmetrical gait pattern going here, but the left 4 again is showing us a different breakover pattern. And this is what we were trying to accomplish. So again, if you get confused or get lost in these instructions, they're really not complicated, but every once in a while a blue light comes on when you're thinking a green light should be, and then that tends to stop us. So just go to the instructions, go to the home page, there's the instructions, there's the user manual, and check this out. There's a lot of information in here that you can look at, so it can help you to figure out where you're going wrong.